All right, here we are. Great day, everybody. It's awesome to be here. We have another incredible episode of Seeds of Abundance. And just gotta say, I love this name of the show. We've been interviewing some phenomenal people and definitely dropping lots of seeds of abundance. And today's going to be no different. But first, as always, my co-host, my business partner, my great friend, Mr. Jim Gale. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, Matthew, doing fantastic. I'm drinking some coffee grown without poisons right now out of Peru. And inside the coffee, I've got lion's mane mushrooms made by Eric and Bill Heinzelman. And they actually brought me their spent mushroom blocks. And now we're putting the mushroom blocks around the fruit trees to not only infuse with the mycelial network and the mushrooms, which will produce the mushrooms, but also that mushroom block acts as a sponge. So it's a good way to absorb water and keep the trees moist during the dry time. So it's the ultimate stack of functions, my friends.
It is. Well, and we have a phenomenal guest today, and something that's so relevant because our technology is tracking us, tracing us, advertising to us, listening to our conversations, being involved in our lives in ways that many people don't want them to be. But we currently don't really have a choice when we're using some of the big tech brand names. But our guest today, Hakeem Anwar from Above Phone, has saw these challenges and problems and decided to do something about it. So I'm excited to hear about everything that they've developed with Above Phone, go into some big solutions that all of our audience can take. And they've got an incredible offer for you too, for all of our listeners. So Hakeem, welcome to the show, my friend. Great to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here, friends. Yeah, it's a beautiful, bright, and sunny day here, and it looks beautiful there behind you, Jim. Big, nice clouds in the sky, and the future looks bright. And so I'd love to share a little bit about the technology with Above Phone. So.
Yeah, why don't you first just tell everybody a little bit about your background, kind of, and where they can find you and how it led you to where we are today with Above Phone.
Yeah, absolutely. So in my past life, I like to call it my past life because there was definitely a decision point where you had to decide to stay in the matrix or move out into something greater. And in my past life, I was a software engineer. So I built web and mobile applications. I did all sorts of different stuff, cloud computing, robotic process automation. And it was a very unfulfilling career up to that point. Maybe it was abundant in the financial sense, but not the spiritual sense. And the pandemic, the tyrannical way governments rolled out the COVID lockdowns made it really, really obvious. I did not want to stay where I was, and I did not want to help build this prison around us. I didn't want to consent to that. I wasn't going to put my energy into that. And so I quit my job and I started working with meaningful activist movements, including with my friend Derek Bros and the Freedom Cell Network. I helped set up their tech infrastructure. And wouldn't you know it, just making a little bit of sacrifice and choosing to help out with that quickly turned in my favor as the movement, kind of blew up. We organically found each other. And I want to point out, like, when there was so much craziness in the world and we were in that fear state and we were all inside of our homes, where did we turn to be like, where are all the sane people at? We all turned to the internet. So I think that was the real takeaway for me is like, that's the true power of the internet to bring people together. And as a part of bringing people together and helping out with the Freedom Cell Network and doing conferences as a part of that, like the Greater Reset, I realized that there was a great need to protect people's privacy, because if anyone is getting tracked and monitored, it is the freedom movement. They want to know what we're saying. They want to know what we're organizing. They want to get into our conversations and steer us the wrong way, make us angry, just waste our energy. And these are well-known, government operations. And so I decided to start a privacy and security company that would help people protect their communications, protect their privacy, based on actual primary source research. So the solutions we'll talk about today do actually protect you from mass surveillance.
That's just huge. I just was listening to Dr. Lee Merritt. She articulated something that I've known for a long time. that there is a massive psyop. It's personalized. She actually went into detail on how we are controlled. Everything we see on online social media and stuff, it is personalized to control the individual's brain. And so what your system can do, what your above phone can do is kind of go around that. It's a circumvent of that whole psyop. Is it not?
Absolutely, yeah. That's so true, right? When you're browsing your social media of choice, and it's either all people who agree with you and kind of like amp you up further, or it's people you don't like, and it's all generating this emotion. So I find a lot of mirrors between permaculture and technology. Bill Mollison, father of permaculture, he has permaculture ethics. And principle number 5 is to avoid invasive species. So what could be more invasive than an operating system that's on 7 billion phones around the planet? All these systems we're plugged into. It's the ultimate invader. And by choosing alternatives, you have essentially said, all right, we're no longer feeding into this. So yeah, that's part of it. When you choose a buff phone, you might the social networks that you're on, they might not follow on the above phone. You might not decide to put them on because it's a more peaceful environment. You want it to be private, but it doesn't prevent you from doing it, right? You're not going to miss out. You could still have your social networks if you want. There's just safer ways of using them. And I guess one of the best things is that it doesn't track you or analyze what you're doing. So you're not going to get those ads either. So it's a huge psychological relief.
And what about specifically censorship? If we're on this above phone, because we know that this phone is listening to us, the iPhone, the standard phones are literally recording everything we're saying. Is that partially true, or is that incorrect, or is that partly true?
It's become now glaringly obvious, and people have definitely observed. We know our smart TVs are listening to us for sure. These big tech companies are very clever, right? They would never admit straight up, "Hey, we're listening to you," but they have different ways around it. Right? They've got the smart devices. They've got apps inside the phones that are given the microphone capabilities and that can listen to you and also feed into those advertising platforms, which, guess what? Most of those are owned by the big tech companies like Alphabet, which is the company that owns Google. They also own 16 of the 20 major advertising providers inside of the operating system. Go figure, right? So when a company owns another company, there's usually ability to share data between them. So they may not say, "Hey, we're listening to you directly," but there is a way for them to listen. And yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that is super important with above phone is that you have the ability to stop them from listening. And also you have so much control of your applications. You can disconnect an application from using a microphone. You can even disconnect applications from using the internet entirely. So you have a lot more choice and control in how you use it.
There's just one more point I'll make on this. I saw, and then I think it was verified all over the place, that every 6 seconds or so, a picture is snapped through the iPhone to take a picture of what we're doing at that time. Does your above phone take pictures of everybody every 6 seconds?
No, no. Unless you're addicted to social media and you're doing it yourself, you're taking selfies.
Wow.
Yeah, no, really, really good point, Jim. I mean, that's one of the scariest things, right? And so that whole Apple, that is due to Apple's Face ID technology, and that's not even a real. It's not a normal camera. It's an infrared camera, and what it's doing, it's shooting a point map. So it's mapping the depth of everything in the room, and they'd use that for the face unlock technology. So if you have that Face ID on your iPhone, yeah, it's taking infrared pictures of the room, everything around you every 5 seconds. But don't worry though, Apple says, they're not collecting those photos. Don't worry, you just trust them.
Yeah.
I would, for me, it's not that hard to put in a password. That's not that hard, So So yeah, so the above phone doesn't have facial recognition technology like that. There is a fingerprint sensor inside of it, but it's all local to the phone. The fingerprint models are stored in the phone, and if you don't care for that, then don't enroll your fingers, or maybe just use one thumb or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to show you here. If I can bring it on screen, I will show you the phone itself. And I'm going to show you that microphone thing. So here, if I scroll over to the right, you can see I have microphone access for the entire phone. I can just turn that off. So I'll block it for the entire phone. Yeah, so this means any app that uses the microphone function will not be able to pick up the microphone. You can do the same thing with camera. You could even do the same thing with specific applications, which on normal phones, you can do this as well, but I just want to show you an example. You can control the camera, the microphone. You can even do things like contacts. You can choose which contacts are actually available to what app. So let's say I'm using WhatsApp or something, and you have to remember a lot of these apps that ask for contact permissions, you're giving them your entire contacts database, right? That's hundreds, if not thousands of people. And now this app knows everyone you talk to, and then will normally on the surface, they'll use it for marketing purposes. So when they see another person on your list has joined, they will go ahead and message them. Oh, hey, so-and-so joined the app. No, that's so creepy. That's so creepy that they're able to do that. So with this phone, you can specifically just choose the people you want and say, all right, this app only has access to those people, right? And so now you're making a more informed decision about what data you want to give over.
Man, it's such. How did you get these ideas? Like, how did this come to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. So this operating system is called Graphene OS. It's developed by a nonprofit community, and so I can't take credit for a lot of this. What Above Phone has done is we've taken this open source software, Graphene OS, which is a de-Googled operating system which anyone can install. So if you're technically capable, I always encourage you to go research it, check the process out, and see if you can install it on your own phone. But if you're a little bit short of time, then that's where a company like Above Phone can come in and say, hey, here, we've already done it for you. Here's the best of the best apps and everything on it. And so, yeah, we're standing on the shoulders of giants and open source developers. Another principle is always to give back inside of permaculture, and we're trying to do that at our company too by donating to the really important projects that make this phone possible. But to go back to your question, where are all these features? Where are they coming from? It's because these open source developers of these de-Googled operating systems are caring and putting more effort and attention to privacy and security on a Google phone, which normal phones, they're communicating back every 5 minutes to either Google or Apple servers. Whereas this phone, it doesn't make any big tech connections, and that's something my team and I have verified. So yeah, this is the new way people who care about privacy and freedom can communicate with others.
Man, it's so relevant in today's world. It always has been. We just weren't aware of the relevance because it just wasn't so obvious that we are being mind controlled until now. Now people are waking up at scale all over the world.
Yeah, and really seeing it, that it's happening in every capacity in their life. The programming, we're hit with thousands of subconscious programming messages a day, and most of us are just so oblivious to it, right? And it hits the subconscious, and all of a sudden we're trying to think differently. They've mastered the control utilizing media, big tech, the Facebook platform and the news feed, the Google ads. It's been proven how Google censors all kinds of relevant search information. And this stuff is known. You have whistleblowers inside those companies that come forward and say it, but nothing happens. So it's time for us to take that power back. And what your solution is a massive component of that. We now work from our phones a lot of the time. They're a major piece of our lives. And if we don't do something about it, it's just going to continue to bombard us. So having a solution like your technology is so important and so relevant today. Now, I know a lot of people, because of their habitual usage of a certain technology brand, will oftentimes have blocks around making a change, right? I've used this brand for 20 years, 15 years, whatever it is. Now I'm going to try to go over here. How do you help people with that? Is it a difficult process for people to do? Kind of walk us through some of those transitional things that have to happen for people and how really smooth it can be.
Well, we do like to start off our support calls by exercising Bill Gates or the Apple CEO out of people's phones. And then boom, it's just, you're gone. You're unprogrammed, you're deprogrammed. I'm totally just kidding.
I get that. That's good.
Yeah. It really though, like, you do get acclimated to one environment. And so this is an Android. It's based off of the Android operating system. So a lot of people using Apple phones, there's going to be more of an adaptation. But it's frankly, it's still pretty easy, and that's exactly why Above exists. That's why this company exists, is to give you the easiest path forward. And support is just one major pillar of what we do, and to the point where, when you purchase a phone, you're getting free live call time with a support engineer, just like me. I was originally doing it when the company started out. Now there's a whole team, and we'll sit with you on a live call, and we'll take your old phone and your new phone, and we will make sure you have everything you need, transferring over your cell service, transferring over your contacts, figuring out what apps you want to use on the new phone, and just teaching you how to use the new phone. And this is something that no companies really do this. You can't, besides going into the Mac store and talking to them there, it's very hard to find support at this level. So that's what we realized we had to do, because it is an uphill battle, and also because these big tech companies create these walled gardens and make it really easy for you to enter their ecosystem. But good luck trying to get your data off. And if you piss them off, they could just simply take it all away from you. So they've done that, right, to so many people, known and unknown. Just a small tangent. A good example of that is this man, Greg, who's from Florida. And I believe it was April 2022. Apple canceled his account, and all of his photos that were on the phone, he could not access them anymore. And unfortunately, his pictures of his daughters were on there, his 8-year-old daughters, and he lost that info, and he literally had to go back to Apple to ask, please unlock my account. I am who I say I am. But Apple wouldn't give him back his own memories. So that's really scary when a technology company can take that part of your life from you. And so when you use the Above phone, there's no cloud service it's connecting to. There are cloud services we offer, but none of them are related to photo storage. So all the photos are going to remain on your phone. There's no way anyone can take it off. And that's a good feeling at the end of the day.
Yeah. So kind of the fun question, do you have long-term plans to put this in a chip and install it in people's brains for full integration?
Oh man, above link coming soon. Only if they are certified. They become a certified permaculture designer when they put it in. They're like,
we'll infuse abundance AI into everybody's head.
Dude.
We're kidding everybody. Oh my God.
Now we're talking though. I mean, that's a great idea, right? What if we could just get simple shortcuts and not have to work for anything? Like that would be so great.
We'd end up like that show Wall-E, where everybody's just fat, and instead of playing sports, they're playing an animated sports character instead of playing sports themselves, and that's their whole life. Oh my God.
It's very scary how close we are to that. I will tell you, our vision is not for brain chips, but we do see what Google and Apple are doing, and we do see the open source ecosystem, and we see that the open source ecosystem is mature enough to go head to head against these big tech companies and make them obsolete. So, I mean, I'm going to give them credit for what they did. They did change the world, like Google and Apple, with some of the things that we now have. It's now so convenient for us. But sometimes we don't think about what price we actually pay. A good example of this is our mapping system. I don't know about you guys. For me, I consciously make an effort to learn the city I'm in, but still, if someone asked me for a place, it would be hard for me to give directions. I would say that's the truth for most people nowadays, right? They're just like, oh, do you have Google Maps? It's like, okay. But what happens when Google Maps takes off all of the farmer stands because, they're exceeding their carbon footprint, right? Like, what are we going to do then? So our vision is to champion the software that already exists, is ready for people to use, and actually apply that knowledge and start using it. I want to show you one more thing on the phone. If you could bring me up. And so I'm going to show you our open source mapping system. And this is called OpenStreetMaps. I'm somewhere in Canada right now. I'm going to move over to the Seattle area, just somewhere over here. And one of the things that is really cool about this map is that you can navigate completely offline. So notice when I zoom into Reading, it's saying, hey, please download this map. Now, imagine I downloaded all the maps of the United States, which I could, and then I can have a road trip all without connecting to the internet. Connecting to the internet. It's going to use GPS satellites. You could also use it like a paper map. I was very mixed up. Seattle is over here. So the other
Thank God you got a map.
Yeah, exactly, right. The other really cool thing about this is you can start adding your own personal points on the map. So you can see here, I added a point for oyster mushrooms. That's a good spot for foraging. And
wow.
In the future, this is how I think people are going to navigate, right? Like we're going to add each other, and we're going to have community and neighborhood maps. And it's going to be private files shared among people in your community. And that's how you guys will be able to stay in touch with each other, right? Should Google Maps or anything like that go down. I also want to show you one other thing, Jim. I think you're going to like this. This is called Fruit Radar, and it's an existing mapping solution that people have built. And basically what you do is you go out and forage, and then you can drop different fruit trees on the map. So, okay, that looks like an elderberry tree. You see.
Wow. We could map our whole property. Does it get that granular? Like, could we map Gall's Landing with that?
Totally. In fact, I think there's a bunch of stuff near you. So I'm going to shimmy my way over there. Here we are. All right.
Yeah.
I think without giving away your location, I'll just wait for this to load.
That's okay. So, we're very public about our Declaration of Freedom. We're here in Central Florida, in St. Cloud at Gall's Landing. If you want to find the secrets to all the world's biggest problems, come here.
Yeah, I always admire that. And I love that you guys live that freely. So as I wait for these the fruit trees to load here, you'll notice a few things. One, that Europe, with all the things that they're doing wrong, the people are contributing. They're crowdsourcing their information to the maps. So we need to start doing this in the United States, and hopefully we'll be able to see this map filled up with different points.
Wow.
I know there was one location in Florida. Let me go back.
That's awesome, though. I mean, I could just see there's food. So while you're going back, I just want to point out something really quick. If we use 5% of the taxation in Florida, now I do not believe in taxation and I don't pay taxes, but let's just to show how corrupt and radically stupid this system is, 5% of the $100 billion budget in Florida, it's actually not like 140, over 4 years is $20 billion. That's 20,000 $1 million food forest installations in the state of Florida in 4 years. Everybody eats, that would change cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It would end hunger, and Florida be the richest healthiest state in the world within 4 or 5 years. So anyway.
100%, right? And it doesn't take that much money. It doesn't take that much work to get some of these food forests started. So it's my hope one day, man. I picked the wrong location, but it's all right. There are other locations here in Europe that actually are full, like the neighborhoods. You can see them. The fruit trees are all laid out. I think it's just having some trouble loading the points, but it would be very cool to see our own maps of who is growing what. And I mean, this technology already exists. We're trying to make it popular. This stuff is not popular, right? It's kind of it's the opposite of what people use nowadays. But it's really good software. It's a really good solution. I mean, I've done a trip on the eastern United States with this map alone. I didn't use Google Maps. I haven't used Google Maps for ever since I started this company. It's been probably about 3 years. Now, I will say there are points in times where you need to look up an address, and because Google and Apple are so good about surveilling everyone and figuring out people's addresses, that they have most of the location points. But there are also solutions where we can start to upload, where we can start to verify businesses and make sure they show up on open source maps.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, one other thing I really want to share with everybody listening is that you came here to Gulf's Landing. We had just a wonderful chat for multiple chats and talks about what's going on and how to solve these problems. And then after I got the Above phone, I met with your team. I met them a couple of times, and one of the times was like an hour and a half. And I just love your team. I've worked with a lot of people, and some people, because I feel I'm so ignorant when it comes to technology. Like, I literally have a plan where I will not be holding an iPhone or an Above phone or any phone here by the end of the year. I've got a plan where I'm going to be completely tech free. Now, most people aren't going to do that, right? Most people are going to continue to have their Above phone or their tech on them. I want to just live completely with nature. So I'm so kind of bad at technology, and I'm not learning the new stuff. And your team was so supportive and so helpful that I was able to get all these things done that I could never have done by myself. So thank you for that.
You are so welcome, man. And I really appreciate those kind words. And I mean, we've been trying to cultivate, it's like you said, there's all this money being spent and money and manpower. If we even took a fraction of that and put it into like intentional projects, we could change the world. So I'm so happy we could have helped you. By the way, we, as a phone company, we totally support your right to go without a phone. In fact, for kids, we don't think kids should, I personally, I'll speak for the company. I don't think kids should have phones. I think there's a lot of debilitating effects to their minds and to their bodies, and dark places that can take them down, as I have gone down some dark places because I was introduced to technology early. So I totally think it's your freedom to live without a phone. And if you're able to do it, that's amazing. Hopefully in the future, we will have different communication systems. If not, maybe like a central device where your community can communicate with others, or even telepathically. Who knows? We might get there.
I think we will. I really do. I think that that's God's technology, and I think that we are waking up to the limitless potential of the most epic technology. Like this whole system, it's a free energy system. We are demonstrating the free energy of God's design. Right. So, but to have that bridge, the Above phone is an incredible bridge. And of course, it'll just keep getting better all the time.
Absolutely.
We already have that telepathy technology already embedded in us. We have just not learned how to tap into it. I would imagine that other societies prior to where we are today have leveraged that significantly more, but we've been so tuned out from birth that our ability to communicate in that regard has been fizzled to non-existent, where we don't believe it, but I bet it's actually already here.
100%, right? We all have those moments where you're thinking of a friend and then they call you, or they're thinking about you. It's already there. We just have to tune out a little bit more. So maybe get rid of your TV, maybe get rid of your normal phone and get an Above phone. It's quieter. It's quieter. There's not as many notifications, and I know you're gonna like it. Which this might be a good time to mention the special promotion we have for Food Forest Abundance. So at abovephone.com/foodforest, we have all of our best phones, and we have them priced at $150 off. And they all come with a case and screen protector as well. So I invite you to check those out. Let me see if I can, cool, we've got that. I'm just gonna really quickly bring it on screen too. Matt, if I could share here, 3, 2, 1, there we are. Cool, so this is the page for it. Could we bring that one on screen?
Yep.
Perfect.
Go.
And so we've got these 4 phones here. And we've got the 8 Pro 128, which I took. So I was on a hike in Tennessee last month. I took some beautiful photos with the 8 Pro. I was just meditating like on a rock in the river, and I look over. Must have been like 40 feet away. This like beautiful egret was just standing like right next to me. So
wow.
Had a moment of silence, and then I was like, I got to take a picture. So I used the 30 times the 30 times zoom of the 8 Pro to get like a really nice shot of it. It was beautiful. So the 8 Pro is our like best and brightest phone, like the most powerful phone you can use. You can do things like run local AI because it's got 12 gigabytes of RAM on the phone, just a powerhouse. One of the best phones you can buy that's out right now. Then we've got the 8, which is not so far behind it. It's a little bit smaller. It's a little bit less powerful, but still the most modern generation. The camera is also very good. And then we've also got the 7A, which is from the previous generation. But it's got a bunch of really good features. And then we've also got the 6A, this is the cheapest we've had a phone on the site in a very long time. We've got a good number of these 6As as well. So those are the 4 phones. At the bottom right here, you'll see this chat with us button. If you have any questions, I've got people on the chat right now. We can answer your specific questions, personalize your phone. Any questions that you have, let us know. We've got a few people online. And lastly, we do have these It Takes Two bundles, this is just perfect, right? Because having private and secure communication as completed, you complete the loop when the other person in the party is also using all the same solutions you are. So if you're using our private phone and in our encrypted messenger, that is one of the most private ways you can communicate today. More private than Signal, which is, that's one of those apps that is taking people's contacts, and it's also funded by the U.S. government. It's also run on Amazon big web services, using all these big tech services. And instead, you can use free and open source technology like Above Phone using XMPP, which is another encrypted messenger. But the difference is this time is you can take the software, you can take the seed, and you can plant it at home, and you can run that for yourself. So that's the major difference here. So when you do these It Takes Two bundles, you'll get one for yourself and one for a family member, maybe a child's a birthday gift, a child who's old enough, or a gift for your mom or dad, or maybe your spouse. And then that way, both of you guys can learn the phone together. We can even have a call. You'll get 2 45-minute calls. You'll have that much more time to learn the phone, and you'll have someone to share with. So check that out, abovephone.com/foodforest. This is going to be going on until August 20th at midnight. $150 off any phone. Each phone comes with a case and screen protector. I hope you guys enjoy. I can't wait to serve you.
Outstanding, man. I love what you've been able to do here, and I'm just grateful that overall we've got people like you stepping in to fill and solve this challenge that is extremely real. Most people are completely oblivious to it. They say things like, I don't really care, I'm not doing anything bad, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't matter. The point is we all deserve to have privacy. And whether you're doing something negative or positive, it doesn't really matter. It's not intended for the government, right? It's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for me and the person that I'm helping or collaborating with or whatever it is, or having private conversations with my wife or kids or whatever they are. and we deserve to have that be private. And the fact that these companies treat it that it's not the case, that our data is their data, and they hide it in these terms and conditions that are 400 pages long in the finest print you could possibly ever read, knowing nobody ever reads it. And then they manipulate us into agreeing to these things. And there you go. Your pictures are taken, your conversations are listened to, you're tracked on where you're traveling, what store you're going into, who you're around, etc. And it's none of their business. So thank you for what you're doing here with Above Phone and for getting this message out here, brother.
Yeah, thank you for being all inclusive, right? Because I learned from you guys on the permaculture front, this is the way we can serve others, and yeah, it's an honor and a privilege to do it. I do want to I want to demo just a few more things on the phone, and I know that both Jim and Matt also got phones. I'd love to hear a personal experience from both of y'all. But let me show. See, oh, here we go. Okay.
Full screen there.
Okay, so two more things I want to show y'all. So, there's a few more things actually. I want to show you that you can still get all the apps that you would normally use. You can still get them on the Above Phone, and you're given a lot more visibility into what these apps actually do. So, for instance, let's take a look. So you can find stuff like, if you wanted to, I'm just giving you an example. You can find stuff like Microsoft Teams if you wanted to. I mean, that's definitely a surveillance app, but some people need that for their job. Some people need that for other reasons. Some people need to use Zoom for things. You can still get those on the Above Phone. Now, the difference is you can get visibility into what this app is doing. So if you look at Microsoft Teams app, you'll see that there's also trackers inside of it, something called Open Telemetry, and this other library. And so what that means is it's third-party software included in the app. And what most people don't realize is all of our apps have many third-party companies tracking what you're doing in them. Here's a really good example. It's the Adobe PDF Reader. This thing should just read PDFs, right? There's no reason it should be connecting out anywhere. It's just reading a file on your phone, or so you would think. But then you look at the number of trackers in there, and you can see it's got Google, it's got Facebook. So all these companies are getting a sense of what you're doing on your phone. To me, this is kind of like equivalent to going to the store and you're trying to buy some like nice organic produce, or maybe just like some chips or something. And this is going to the back and reading the ingredients to see what's actually on here. That way you can make a more informed choice. Maybe instead of getting the PDF reader through the Google Play Store, which this is an anonymous way to download things from the Google Play Store, you can use F-Droid, which is the free and open source app store or app catalog. And there's so many useful apps inside of here. Here you have what looks like a grow tracker, which is a way you can track your plant's growth over time. And if I'm not mistaken, that looks like cannabis. But this person, that's what they want to track in their grow. And it looks really cool, actually. It looks like you can test the different inputs and how that translates to the growth of the plant. So it looks really, really cool. You've got apps like these. And I also wanted to show you another app that I've been playing around with, which is a way to forecast your solar power. So I've actually tried to model Gulf Landing here.
Yep.
This is the weather report for St. Cloud, Florida. Just made some assumptions on how big your solar system is, 650 watts. And then I can see over the next week how much power it might generate based on cloud coverage and rain and whatnot. So, there's some really cool things we can do. And this phone is another permaculture principle. It's not just about collecting knowledge. It's about applying the knowledge and using it. So there is so many awesome things you can do on this phone. We also sell Above Suite along with the Above Phone, which is your privacy services. So you'll get things like a private email, private calendar. This is all built on the phone. Kind of show you how that works. So This is the email service. You can see that it's atabove.im. That's the email address you get. The cool thing about it is you can use it on your phone. You can use it on your computer. You can even use it on your normal phone if you want, because you have the freedom to choose. And then we've got things like the calendar. We've got this encrypted messaging app. So what's really cool about this one is if the person also has this encrypted messaging solution called XMPP, then you guys can have encrypted messaging. And we have the service as part of our suite of software services, which we call Above Suite. But the awesome part is you can still also reach the phone network. So you can see that I have Eve on here as a contact, and she has a phone number. I can call and text this phone number just like a normal number, but I can do it without a SIM card. I do it from this app on my phone, and from her side, it just looks like I'm calling her with my number. So this is a service we run. We partnered with another company to share the service with y'all, and you can pick your own phone number. It's $5 a month. And you can do calls and text to any phone numbers. You can do international calls. And you can do this all without a SIM card. So you're not getting tracked by the nearest radio tower. Your calls are going over the internet. And because you are using our VPN, which is encrypting the internet traffic on your phone, no one around you, like the local radio tower, it doesn't actually know you're making a phone call. So these are all different things you can do to improve your privacy. There's so much to unpack there, as you might see, but we've made it really easy. So we've got on our website, we've got a whole university which was going to teach you course by course everything you can do on this phone. We have the 45-minute setup call, and then we also have written guides for a lot of this stuff. So just wanted to demo that last part to you.
Let me just ask, did I just hear $5 a month for unlimited texting and calling when you're on internet?
Yes. So unlimited texting for sure. Unlimited texting for sure. You get about 2 hours of call time with that. And then international calling, depends on which country. But I mean, it's awesome because it's so much cheaper than a phone number. And you can do it privately on your phone. You're not giving any personal information to create the number, and it all happens over the internet. So it's super cool.
Oh, I love it. Well, I just love it. I love everything about it. The attention, the timeliness of it. The camera works great. Matthew, what's your experience been?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic as well. I'm using it on a regular for some parts of my life. I haven't made the full transition, and my personal blockage has been, I've been an Apple user since the first iPhone came out, and I had a Mac product at that time. So I now have, multiple computers that are kind of connected when I travel with, one on my desktop, and then my phone. And I have definitely had my own blockages around making a full transition over. However, I do completely see the value, and I'm starting to utilize it and integrate it into my life, just not 100% yet. But my hope is that I can make that full transition. And maybe there's a way in the future where Above Phone can actually connect in. So I'm able to, do what I do on my phone and still have it transfer into my computer, which is one of the features I like, right? Being able to communicate, have them share information with one another in an easy way, so I can do work in one place and then open it up in another place, and then be on the train and open it up on my laptop and have all that working together. So that would be an ask I would have, is that, how do we figure out to make that kind of stuff happen, which would probably make the transition for someone like me way smoother to go full in.
Matt, we have the technology, and you bring up a good point, right? Like for different lifestyles, you might decide to use Above Phone as like a secondary phone, and that's totally okay too. We have a good amount of customers that are doing that. They need to hang on to their iPhone for whatever reason. Maybe it's FaceTiming with the family, different reasons that their other Mac devices are connect with it. So that's totally okay, right? You can kind of use both phones separately and take your time migrating over. We recently released our laptop product as well, which is a Linux laptop. This is a project that we've been working on for the past 2 years, and that's exactly what we were trying to do. Is there a private way we can get our phone and our laptops to sync with each other, and we have found the solution. So so I mean, you could be working on a document and put it in the right folder, and that should automatically sync up to your phone. So if people are interested,
download the Graphene OS operating system onto computers and that kind of stuff too.
No. The Graphene OS is just only for phones, because it's based off a mobile operating system. But there are other operating systems for desktop, Linux based. We create in our laptop. We created our own operating system essentially, which is based off of Arch Linux, which is an advanced Linux operating system. But we have tailored it so it's so easy to use. We took a lot of the lessons from Apple. We also took a lot of the lessons from Windows, figured out what we liked about it, and we took that and we made it into a Linux operating system. So the one goal we had was you don't have to touch the terminal. Like, you shouldn't have to touch the terminal to use a computer. And my engineers were like, I don't know if we could do that. And I was like, no, we can figure it out. We'll find a way. And so we did that. And so it's a really accessible Linux laptop product. It's super beautiful. And if you want to check that out, it's at abovephone.com/book. And maybe we can have another call in the future where I show that off to you guys.
Sounds great, Hakeem.
Yeah.
And thank you for everything you're doing. Another piece of the freedom puzzle.
It's my pleasure. Thank you guys for the very important work. I'm due another visit to Galt's Landing. I can't wait to get back there, get my feet in the sand, man, just the energy of that place. Thank you guys for what y'all are doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, Hakeem, sharing your message and the powerful technology that you've been developing with your team. And we're looking forward to hearing more experiences from others as they begin to utilize this phone and technology. Jim and I using it, we're enjoying it so far, and as you heard, making our transitions over in that direction. So anybody that's watching here today, make sure you take some action on this. Your privacy is important. Head over to abovephone.com/foodforest. Have a look at the offers that are there and see what one fits well for you in your life. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in today. Thank you, Hakeem, and we look forward to seeing you again for another episode of Seeds of Abundance. Have an amazing day.
Thanks, guys. Time to grow.